just have reviewed a couple of films now, some not so good, some a bit better. Definitely room for improvement, but we're definitely going to be talking about a hot take here. This is a highly anticipated movie. A lot of people were expecting this to hit theaters, and we covered it quite a bit. Well, we do have a hot take on this movie. We are covering Shabaash Mithu, starring Taapsee Pannu, and we would love to, kind of give you our take on this. So, Em, how about you start us with the 30,000 Feet? Give us a summary on what this film is.
Well, this film is a biopic of Mithali Durai Raj, who's the captain of the Indian women's cricket team, who's had a brilliant, spectacular career for herself, but was also responsible for raising the bar for Indian women cricket. And this biopic, headlined by Taapsee Pannu, was actually helmed by Srijit Mukerji. And it shows us a journey of Mithali from her childhood through her struggles. Um, I was expecting a lot from this movie, not only because of Srijit Mukherjee's direction, but also Taapsee being in the movie, because Taapsee, known to have done such athletic roles, she has worked very hard to be the cricketer in this movie, to actually become a cricketer from an actor. And although Taapsee puts in her blood, sweat, tears into the role, and you see her really become Mithali, pick up each and every aspect of Mithali's form and character and body to really portray her career journey and her life. Uh, I was very sad to see the movie fail in so many ways. And let me tell you how. Um, the story depends a lot on telling Mithali's story of grit, and how she overcomes the obstacles in her way, and then how she overcomes the opposition that her grandmother or brother have to a career, and how her parents support her through the journey, and how her coach actually mentors her through that entire process. Um, but the problem in the movie is that it's so predictable. The story of a sports person and the obstacles that they face, and putting their entire life up for grabs has been done so often that you're almost expecting her to come through in every aspect. Um, so the telling of the story becomes really predictable and drab and boring at some point in time. So the way the biopic is done, the way the story is told, and the screenplay really fails Mithali Raj. Mithali Raj is a very honored, and she deserves much better. That's what I would like to say. And the screenplay is unable to build any surprises for her audiences. The film is unable to keep its consistency. There's so many cliched scenes that we've seen in other sport biopics that it just made me cry. She deserved so much better. This woman who actually created a name for Indian women cricket in a country where women are not even looked at seriously. She fought for women cricket. She made sure women cricket is looked at respectfully. When Indian men's cricket was suffering, Indian women cricket was winning because of her. She brought it to the forefront. She's that woman. And then somebody does a biopic and they are not able to tell her story properly. That is criminal. And I was really, really disappointed to see that. So I actually, I, I really am saying this with a hole in my heart. Really, I was really sad to see this biopic.
It was highly anticipated to see something like this be done well. Unfortunately, it was not. It, did feel fairly long and just kind of stale in some areas. And, as you were saying, was not telling The story was not really kind of portraying, I would even say, like the true significance, the true impact of her story and how it kind of changed everything forever. I think, what you said and even more.
And we were talking about how we were brokenhearted with this movie and its depiction of one of the greatest names in Indian women cricket, Mithali Raj, and the fact that the movie just didn't make the cut for us, even though Mithali's illustrious career doesn't need a movie. But when you do a biopic and the biopic doesn't meet the standards that it deserves, it really, really leaves you with a really heavy heart. And Michael, you had something to say to me while we were on a break. You were saying something.
Yeah, this you see this a lot in sport movies where there's this big ramp up towards like a final game, right? There's this big ramp up towards a final game, and ultimately the protagonists end up losing, but they gain something out of it. Like they gain teamwork, or they gain empathy, they gain, a lot of things. Like you can even see it somewhat when you watch like some of the like American baseball movies, like Moneyball is a really good example of that. But like I think this movie was really missing the point of its significance, of it being like a biopic. I don't really think that's kind of the ending it should have been going for. At the same time, too, I don't think the director of this movie was quite thinking about the audience while he was making this, because there's a lot of moments where like it's actually a lot more impactful, like as an audience member, to be thinking and processing things as the movie is going along. But when it's just kind of given to you or cut short or not, you know, gone into in a deep manner at all, you're kind of just left with nothing to process and just being a little bored. And then it'll transition into these, stale and flaccid scenes that we were talking about earlier. And you're just kind of sitting here like, like, come on, when's the climax? When's the good stuff coming? And so I can tell you, like, as an audience member, this was a hard movie to watch just because, like, one, it was not it was not delivering what we were hoping to see, which was a true biopic of, kind of the rise of women's cricket at this time, and the story of the player was supposed to be telling. But also, two, just that, you know, you're just kind of being dragged along with it as well. There's nothing really like keeping you engaged. There's nothing really keeping you from like learning. Like a lot of times when there's these like emotional scenes or like these fallout scenes between people, like there's a lot to like, analyze and digest. And I know like me as an audience member, I really love being able to do that, but I was not really able to do it here. I was just kind of, watching as everything was being almost, I felt like mouth fed to me, spoon fed. So, if you were to watch this movie, it should be for it should be for her. It should be for the story of the player. But really, like, it doesn't really do any justice of Mithali's career. Doesn't really do her justice for her impact in the industry as well. A lot of women's cricket players can definitely attribute what everything today is of her, and I really think that that's kind of the angle this film should have gone at. Any closing thoughts?
Well, you really don't have to take her story from the day she's born to the day she, became great. You could actually have just taken one aspect of a story and create something out of it. Because what the director's really gone and literally crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's for the audience, which makes the audience feel dumb. And